Hi all, let's have a look at an amazing encounter considering the circumstances. Fabiano Caruana had just won the candidates to challenge Magnus Carlsen, and they're actually playing now in the Grenke Classic in round 1. Let's have a look at this amazing encounter, because it could give a psychological edge potentially for the upcoming World Chess Championship. So Caruana, playing white, plays d4. Magnus Carlsen plays knight f6. c4, g6, knight f3, bishop g7. And now this is King's Indian territory potentially, usually knight c3 or g3. But we have the modest looking e3 move, which does hem in the bishop, but it's got certain advantages. So now black castles, bishop e2, d6, knight c3, knight c6, so provoking white to play d5 here, which does often weaken dark squares. White does actually get tempted to play d5. The knight goes here. Now you see that c5 and e5 are a little bit easier for black to get his teeth into. Magnus might have to spend time rerouting this knight. So this move a3 kicks the knight, but maybe it's slightly controversial if the knight really wants to end up on c5. So potentially castling and playing for e4, e5 later would be a strategic break plan, and let black take his own time for this. So anyway, a3, knight a6. So the knight's already eyeing c5, and white can't play b4 because there's going to be problems on the diagonal here with that bishop. Like, for example, that knight takes d5. So yeah, we have knight d4 though being played, which shields the diagonal, and potentially b4 then to stop the knight using the c5 square. But Magnus reacts quite energetically here. He plays e5. We have d takes en passant, f takes. So already there's an outline for potential of black's pawn centre here. You can see that black's got an extra centre pawn, but slightly weakened his king side. So is there going to be central pawn mobility later? White castles, e5. The knight's kicked out of the way and goes to b3, which eyes against the c5 square usage. c6. And now Fabiano played e4, so liberating this bishop out of its shackles of the pawn chain. But it does potentially weaken d4 and f4 a little bit. And there's a standard looking King's Indian maneuver, knight c7, to jump into e6, which eyes both d4 and f4. White is energetic now, very quickly energetic with f4. We have knight e6. If black takes, he's losing part of his central control. But apparently this is, technically this is about even anyway. There's a backward pawn here, for example, as a target. But it seems that both sides don't really like their pawn structure a little bit there. So here we see actually, knight e6. And we have f5. And now knight d4. So not minding a pawn sack here to blast things open. White plays bishop e3, just challenging the knight. Now if black, let's have a look at knight takes d4 before we get into bishop e3. So if knight takes d4, e takes, and we take this pawn, knight g4 hits the queen. And here, for example, black could even win the exchange. But it's not the end of the story here. This very forcing sequence, if black is dropping d6, for example, here, then apparently this is an even position. Yeah, it's interesting dynamic position really. But this wasn't played. This knight wasn't taken off here. We have just it being challenged. And now knight takes e2, grabbing a light square bishop. If c5, I think this gives white a free hand, maybe g4 even. There's a free hand there. If white gets in g5 and f6, there'll be a bit of a squishing going on the king side. So probably not a good idea to play c5. So taking the bishop, which leaves this without a counterpart, this c8 bishop. Now g takes f5. So black's trying to maximize his central pawn mobility here by taking away this center pawn, and now go with d5. So you can see the black pawn stretching out in the center. C takes, rook a d1, and now d4. There's a slight downside of this d4. that if white can fix these pawns and get a good blockade square, this might actually be really scary for black. Bishop g5, highlighting the potential blockade square. Pinning that pawn means that this can't be taken. So queen b6, hitting the knight, threatening things like d3 check and d takes c. But white has a check here, rook f7, and now knight a4, hitting that queen. Queen c7. And the queen's come off here, but after knight ac5, so the question about central pawn mobility is raised here. Is white going to blockade, or is black going to make these pawns even more mobile? b6, and now white gives up the other bishop, so it's two bishops versus two knights scenario potentially. But actually, Magnus takes a knight. He doesn't take that bishop. He actually takes this knight. Let's have a look if he took the bishop. We get that blockade square, and here black though is doing quite well with a small edge apparently, because if you look, the c file's actually in black's control at the moment potentially, and there's pressure on that diagonal. But you know, white has his own threats potentially with the pawns over here. So anyway, so Magnus chose actually b takes c5 instead. So the this knight will take some time, a little bit more time than the other knight, to get to a decent blockade square. Bishop takes g7, king takes. Now knight d2, but bishop b7, f6 check. And now here, the king stays out of trouble with king f8, instead of coming up the board. So king f8, rook de1, rook e8, knight e4, and now simply just going into this rook and pawn ending, taking away that blockader immediately to try and stretch these pawns out further. c4 is played. g4, white's using his trump card. He's got a 3-to-1 pawn majority over here. Rook b8, pressure on b2. We have rook takes e5, yeah, swapping e5 for b2 basically. So we've got two connected passed pawns here. Seems ready to roll. Rook d5, c3. Now, if rook takes d4, then c2, and this is just winning for black. So white has to play this check. And now rook h8, threatening rook takes in to take this rook. So that rook's protected. We have rook takes h7, king g6. So a simplification to this rook and pawn ending. King f2, c2. There's still blockade issues though, so that the king scurries to blockade. Rook d7, king d2, king takes f6. h4, and this king comes to naturally try and support the pawns. Rook f1, king d4, h5, rook e7, and this is really threatening. Check and king c3 would be so whilst the opposition is there, check to evict the king back one row. Rook f1, king c4 though, the king's still heading for the b3 square now. Check. A little bit of pausing though, and now finally it goes in. Check, king takes a3, rook c4, king b3, rook c8, and here we have a mega critical position. Pawns versus pawns. Okay, now Magnus Carlsen here. This is past like the major time control. This is at move 54. Played a5. It seems as though, yeah, there's a computer move, to be honest, which traditionally, I guess, we didn't think computers were that great at either openings or endings, and the reverse is becoming very true. They're much stronger than humans, it seems. There seems to be a computer move, rook h7. Now, traditionally, the Tarrasch rule, your rooks go behind the opponent's passed pawns, or pawns. But here, by going in front, it seems white has nothing to do here in this position. In this actual exact position here, after rook h7, it seems as though this slows down white's pawns and gives black a free hand with the a pawn. That's it in a nutshell. This move, rook h7, seems to be technically a winning move. Let's have a look at some examples here. So a fascinating scenario just for studying rook and pawn endings. On king takes d3, check, using that opposition to drive the king away. And now a5. This sequence, for example, you can see that black's pawns trying to deflect the rook away to place here. Black's pawns actually are quicker. You know, you get both these pawns already on the 7th now, so the rook can't take c2 without this one queening. So g7, but king b5, and the king just goes back to harass the rook. This is just winning for black. You can see that rook is in an ideal place here. So yeah, that's one example. Let's have a look at this again then. So rook h7, instead of king d3, let's throw in this check. King a2, rook c8, a5, this pawn coming up. Now here, king b1, check, king c1. Now this scenario is also just winning for black. Black's too quick there. Let's have a look instead now at move 55 alternate. Rook d8. So rook d8. King b2, check. Here, rook c8, a5, this pawn coming in again. Now in this position, rook c7 takes king b3. This is very good after rook g7 for black. First of all, wiping out one of those connected passed pawns. And over here, black has a winning position here. Yeah, let's look at rook c6 now instead. King b2, rook c8, a5. This a pawn is playing an instrumental role here. And you can see that white's pawns have been kind of frozen in time, basically. So this is all not using the Tarrasch rule. It's like an example of not to use the Tarrasch rule. So Tarrasch believe, you know, rook's behind passed pawns, but this is a very, very high profile example of the opposite, actually, just going to stop the pawns from the not from behind but in front. So let's have a look at king e3 as another example. Yeah, this scenario again is similar to what we just looked at, where the black pawns, yeah, if white's doing that, it's hopeless. The black pawns are just quicker. But in the game, yeah, we have basically just the Tarrasch rule being used instead. After that Seabot Tarrasch. Pardon me, let me just turn that off for a moment. Okay, so a5 was played instead, and so the threat actually, technically, if you look at the threats of this position, is actually h6. So rook h7 immediately stops the h6 threat. Now that h6 is permitted, it's played. And funny enough, this is in balance now. And in fact, Magnus goes with the Tarrasch rule. He just tries to get his rook behind this passed pawn. He plays this check, maybe just believing it's like a draw. And now check, check. Yeah, it's going to be like perpetual check time. So yeah, they agreed a draw here. This is the black the king doesn't want to go too far away, so yeah, drawn here. Okay, so yeah, fascinating move possibility in this rook and pawn ending, which apparently was winning. It's just fascinating, the vastness even of rook and pawn ending. So this critical position here, who would have thought? Rook h7, amazing stuff. Now I don't usually show you draws, but yeah, I thought this is pretty instructive, this rook and pawn ending. It's just, yeah, sometimes rules are meant to be broken, so the Tarrasch rule in this position, it seems technically can be broken with great effect. It slows down the white pawns significantly compared to the black pawns. Okay, hope you got something from that. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Okay, thanks very much.